And now we're going to talk about another one that can be a little difficult. Actually, this is one I find difficult myself. I'm going to be open about that. I don't find the shadows so difficult, other than the fact that dice rolls can go crazy. This one I actually find difficult, but it is one I like. It is the Groaning Spirit, or the Banshee. By the way, I haven't seen this in a while, so I'm going to do it.
There you go.
Don't forget to subscribe. If you like Banshees, be sure to subscribe. So, same as before, I'm going to give a little preface here, and we'll look at the stats and whatnot. To me, this one we're going to talk about a little bit differently. Groaning Spirits, to me, are a story-driven undead. What I mean by that is a Banshee should never appear as a random encounter, and shouldn't just be something the PCs kill and move on. On the story side, Banshees are tragic tales, and the discovery or understanding of this tale should be paramount. Or you've really wasted an interesting undead. On the mechanic side, it's actually easier to avoid a Banshee than to confront it. Without a hook or reason, PCs would be wise just to leave a Banshee alone to her internal seething. So, we look over at the stat box here. We see that it can be found in any terrain. Very rare for necessity reason. We'll talk about that in a moment. Organization, solitary. Activity cycle, night. Again, undead. It exists day and night, but that's when it will attack anyway. Diet is nil. Apparently, where shadows want to eat living things. Actually, they just want to bring it to the negative material plane. These things, they don't have hunger. Intelligence is exceptional, and this is something to remember as we go forward. It's got a 15 to 16 intelligence. If I remember correctly, D&D says that's like a 150 to 160 IQ. Treasure D, alignment chaotic. Number appearing 1, we already said that. Armor class 0, movement 15. It's faster than you. Hit dice 7, so that's an average of 32 hit points. It could have more, it could have less. Daco is 13. Number of attacks is just 1. So another undead that doesn't really have a lot of combat prowess. Damage per attack is a D8. But again, if you consider its Thaco and hit dice and so forth, I mean, that's still pretty low. Does have the special attack of Death Whale. Actually, also has a fear attack. I don't know why that's not written, or not attack, but there's a fear component to this as well. Requires a +1 or better weapon to hit, and is 50% magic resistant.
That's a big one. With the armor class 0 and the 50% magic resistance and the magic weapon needed to hit, it's got some staying power, if not some damaging power.
Right. Apparently, I'm having mic issues again.
Yes.
I don't know why that is. Nothing changed here. That's plugged in. I have everything connected one piece. That's why I checked my headset. That's plugged in. That's plugged in. We'll go on here. If it's a bad video, well, I guess it just doesn't hit YouTube then. If used simply as a stat block, the Banshee is kind of underwhelming. Now, just discuss the magic resistance and so forth, but I'll have some commentary on that in a little bit. But if used properly and with a little thought, this creature is no joke. For the same reasons that Ethan Dog just mentioned a little bit ago. While it may be a solitary undead, she is quite intelligent and filled with hate. Why did I call her she there? She'd be called an it. This combination,
like a girl.
Well, it's and I'll get to that in a second as well. Yeah,
she identifies as a female groaning spirit.
Well, yeah, she has to. And I'll get to that in a moment. But still, it's an it. Once you're dead and become undead, you're an it. You're not a she. This combination in the hands of a thoughtful and devious DM can spell the doom of any adventure party. So we're going to move forward to this. So let's look at some of the text. I didn't bring up the text for the shadow last time around. I could bring it up for this one as well, and maybe I'll do that in a moment. But for now, I quoted this. The Groaning Spirit, or Banshee, is the spirit of an evil female elf. A very rare thing indeed.
It's exactly what Shadzar said.
So, why is this very rare? Because it's an evil female elf. And unlike you 5th edition morons, elves aren't evil. If one falls, that's a dark elf. That's a drow. No, drow are dark elves. Dark elves are not necessarily drow. There's very, very, very rarely an evil elf. And the reason for that is because of biological essentialism. I'm using all these little trigger words to piss you guys off. Because, yes, these are species, and the species is inherently good. If one goes south, goes evil, that's something to behold. And
Yes.
that's why dark elves are so rare. Now, doing the heathen dog now thing. Groaning spirits hate the living and find the presence of the living painful. They seek to harm the living whenever they meet.
That's unfortunate.
Yes. A banshee can sense the presence of living creatures up to 5 miles away. On the flip side, an adventuring party is going to take notice of the change in terrain as it degenerates from a lush forest to a decaying, gray, and dead landscape. Huh. It was just all wonderful a moment ago. Now it's
So who let go of all the Agent Orange, huh?
right. Oh, look, there's a building in the middle, a rundown ruin. Should we go check it out?
No, I'm good.
The answer. Okay. Well, the Banshee doesn't sleep. She'll wait until nighttime to attack. This is when most adventure parties are out of their armor and huddled around a campfire. What she has to do is enter the middle of that camp and let loose with her keen. And that could spell doom for most, if not all, party members.
Let loose with her what now?
Her Banshee wail,
There you go.
also called a keen.
Okay, well, yeah, you're cutting out again.
Oh, dang it. That is weird. I mean, I haven't touched anything here, and I was good for the beginning part of this.
Yeah, there's nothing to do but push through.
Immediately upon witnessing the Banshee, the PCs have to roll a save versus spell or suffer the effects of fear. Once within their midst, she will unleash her wail. Now all PCs within 30 feet of her must save versus death magic or die. Dunzo.
Yep.
The text reads that she'll continue to do this each night until all the characters die or leave. But I believe a hateful undead with an intelligence of 15 to 16 will not be content with just a scream and a hope. As long as she has the advantage, she is going to attack any PCs who remain, especially those fumbling to cast spells or put on armor. She's intelligent enough to recognize the most dangerous characters and the easiest targets, and will react accordingly. If immediate retreat is the best option, she will do so. If she can take advantage of the chaos, she will do that instead. She'll leave combat once she's either harmed or no longer feels she has the advantage. This all assumes the PCs were not prepared for the Banshee, either due to it being a random encounter, bad DM, or a surprise encounter such as exploring an uncharted area, or caught unawares for some other reason. Chances are any group of appropriate level won't be caught so unprepared. I mean, let's be fair about this. We're talking like 9th, 10th, 11th level characters, probably, maybe 7th, but you're probably somewhat experienced enough where you just don't set up camp and everybody go to sleep at the same time with nobody looking out, right? And through research, preparation, or otherwise provided information, they may even know exactly what they're getting into. Hey, there's some weird shenanigans going out in that area over there. Animals are dying, people are dying, trees are fading. This is weird. Can you go check it out? And if, in the modern version of D&D, I roll an investigation check. In the real D&D, before we go there, we're going to do some research on what could cause this. And they come to find out of many things, but one of the things it could be is a Banshee. Let's prepare for a Banshee. At this point, outside of bad dice rolls, Banshee loses some of her luster. While the fear effect and the keen are powerful, she has few other abilities to make her a true threat to an organized group. By the time an adventure party encounters a Banshee, the necessity for a +1 weapon to hit is a joke. And chances are the group has encountered enough undead in the past to find the immunity to charm, sleep, hold, cold, and electricity to simply be standard fare. Her 50% magic resistance is formidable, but the odds are 7th level wizards and clerics, especially those with a couple of scrolls, are going to still be successful in harming the Banshee if there's another character to intercede to allow them to cast. A Banshee is turned as a special undead. That's that last row, the hard one. But this is negated by the fact that Dispel Evil instantly kills her. Yes, that requires a 9th level cleric or the use of scrolls. But it's not unheard of. I mean, Dispel Evil is actually a pretty common spell anytime I've played.
Yeah.
And if the group is prepared, guess what they're going to come with? Dispel
Lots
Evil.
of scrolls.
And Dispel Evil.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
So,
scrolls with Dispel Evil on them.
Right? In case the spell
Everyone's
doesn't work.
got one. It's like what's her name? Giving out cars.
Here's a Dispel Evil. There's a Dispel Evil.
Exactly.
We all have Dispel Evil. So, in fact, a Banshee can be easily defeated by a prepared party. However, a good DM won't allow the Banshee to be alone with her curse. If she retreats back to her lair, the PC should have other undead to contend with, such as those shadows we talked about previously.
Yeah, it says that she hates living things, but
Yes.
she may surround herself with undead as company. I mean, she's intelligent. She would need some kind of company. Maybe zombies and shadows and skeletons and whatever are enough for her.
And if you notice in the write-up, I should pull up the write-up here. Let me do that. I have it here. I actually have it prepared. I had the shadow prepared as well.
Hey, check this out.
Set.
Look on stream.
The sign of the stream has more viewers than Jeff Grubb 2E fame currently. Wow. Wow. I don't. I know the name Jeff Grubb because he did second edition, but I don't know his proclivities, so I won't say yay, nay, or otherwise. But thank you, everybody who is here right now. Absolutely do appreciate that. You're gonna say that's the wrong one. Shut up. I'm gonna start with the shadow. So I know we're talking about the Banshee now.
There you
go. But we're gonna talk about the shadow or look through it real quickly. And okay, that's quickly enough. Now let's talk about the Banshee because this is actually.
Sherris has a question on the Banshee.
Yes, the Banshee can be primary enemy in a story. I think it makes a really good one. Just understand that once that boss fight comes, a prepared party really won't have too much trouble with the Banshee. No. An unprepared party is dead.
Yes, and any intelligent undead is usually a good end boss for a story.
Yes. Who hates living things? Max is a necromancer. Well, I do like undead. Yes, that is absolutely true. And I do like playing necromancers. I'm doing this more because it's October. And, got to think Halloween, right? Also, these were, when I looked through the book, I was going to do some mundane. I think I had the Cave Fisher, the Catabula Pause, whatever the heck that thing's called, and so forth. But I was like, wait a minute. Talk about some undead that I like to use in my games. But either struggle with or find that people don't use them correctly. So that's and the shadow is the big one for me. I love the shadow. It is actually one of my favorite undead to put against parties. Maybe to the point of it becomes boring for some of my groups. Well, old groups, I haven't run D&D in a long time. Just because they come to expect it, because I love utilizing it so much because they're so devious and what they do to characters. If I get you down to 0 strength or 0 hit points, you're done. The Banshee. I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but it says our formidable opponents, the mere sight of one causes fear unless a successful saving throw versus spell is rolled. We talked about this already, but those who fail must flee in terror for 10 rounds and are 50% likely to drop any items they're carrying in their hands.
And they're the lucky ones.
Yeah.
Because what comes next sucks a lot worse than like pee in your pants.
Yes. A Groaning Spirit's most dreaded weapon is its Wailer Keen. Any creature within 30 feet of a Groaning Spirit when she keens must roll a saving throw versus death magic. Those who fail die immediately, their face contorted in horror. Fun times. Fortunately, they can only do it once a day. But again, a D8 damage isn't a lot, but I could see her, claw at a wizard for Well, other people are trying to get their armor on and so forth. And then, if it realizes, this is 5 versus 1. The fear didn't work so well. This is 5 versus 1. I'm out. It'll just float away. It moves faster than you. It's got a movement rate of 15. Bye.
Yeah, it's going to get away. Yeah.
So, Karen's Banshees are wherever they settle. They'll kill without discretion, pleasures, misinformation, misery they cause. Well, you call it, a blight upon wherever they settle. They kill without discretion, and their only pleasure is the misfortune and misery of others. In addition to slaying both man and beast, by the way, man means man or woman. We didn't put our disclaimer up yet, though. A Groaning Spirit's Keen has a powerful effect upon vegetation. Flowers and delicate plants wither and die, and trees grow twisted. Remember what I said before about the desolate lands and so forth? So, yeah. This is a story hook creature. I would not randomly put a Banshee out there, and I'm hesitating because, I like to find rationale for anything. I cannot find a rationale to randomly just have a Banshee floating around.
Yeah, they seem like they would be territorial because they hate living things, so they're not gonna move around. They're gonna find a spot, kill all the living things, and stay there because they hate living things. It's painful to them.
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna protect their territory and not move on from it. Usually, in the folklore in the area, there is going to be something about an evil or an elf maiden being murdered or hung or killed or died or whatever in the local folklore. And then you're going to have the rotted vegetation. You're going to have dead animals lying around. You're going to have a whole lot of clues that will build up to the answer of Banshee. You're going to have a whole lot of clues. If you ignore them, well, you rolls your dice literally and takes your chances because you could just die.
Yep.
That's great. But yes, this is a really good build up to a side story in your campaign. This is a really good side story.
It could even be a good mid-level boss fight, if you want to call it. I like to break up my campaigns into the umbrella, the little mini umbrellas, and so forth. So I could see, as part of, say, the mid-level tier of the entirety of the campaign, this being the boss fight, getting to this point.
Yeah.
3
or 4 session arc.
Yes, you can't trivialize this. You can't just be like, oh, this is just one adventure. You cannot, well, you can, I suppose, but you should not do Heathen Dog's one shot
with something like
Banshee.
a Banshee, yes.
Because there's too much story that you should have with the Banshee. Why is this a Banshee? First of all, how is it an evil elf? Because again, to all you little 5th edition nerds out there, no, elves are not evil. You should not be able to make an evil elf. That's paradoxical. It just doesn't exist. So how did this thing turn evil? And now what do we do about it? Those are the things that you should find out. And it should be a story. It should be a sob story, kind of like the Lord Soth thing. If you remember, he has multiple banshees around him. That's got to be fun times.
Yeah.
But the fall, instead of the fall of Lord Soth, it'd be the fall of this banshee. And you'd want to find out more about that. Maybe treat it like a ghost and put it at peace. Maybe just destroy the damn thing because it's, people want to move farmland out here or something. I don't know. But anyway. So there's one thing, and there really isn't much I wanted to say about the shadow, except for this isn't going to hit YouTube, obviously, or if it does, it's going to be in the Banshee section. But if you want to go back and watch a shadow video, I have one comment to make about it. It's how to, it's this one down here. According to most knowledgeable sages, shadows appear to have been magically created. All right. So, and they can no longer resist, either through consciousness or physical prowess. The curse is activated and the majority of the character's essence shift to negative material plane, which I already said. Now, attempts to remove the curse from captured shadows have all failed. A limited wish spell provides only partially successful, only partially successful as the victim returned for an hour but remained insane.
Oops.
It's been speculated a full wish, followed by a heal spell, might be capable of restoring a shadow to his former state. But again, must be emphasized that this is only a theory. This is kind of an out for, a game master who wants to get a character back in the game. But then again, if you can cast wish spells, I don't think you're going to be dealing with shadows.
Yeah. Shadows are not your problem.
But as we said before, rarely leave their lair and so forth. The original body of a victim is destroyed when changed into a shadow. whether by the curse itself or by unprotected exposure to the negative material plane. In any case, killing a shadow is merely a case of severing the bond between the prime material and negative material forms. So when a character gets turned into a shadow, you are not looting its corpse.
Doesn't have one. It's gone.
And I've had many an argument about this. All right, let's stop sharing that. So that's segment 1 for me. What have I missed in chat?